What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review for WWE UNREAL on Netflix. Now, if you haven't watched this documentary yet, come on back, because there are spoilers, I guess. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who watches and follows everything here on the channel. Like I always say, and I think I'm going to make sure it is stated, without you watching, you commenting, you liking, subscribing, there's no reason for me to do it. So while you're here, like this video, click subscribe to the channel and all that shit. I'm working on getting the animation that pops up like bing, boom. Most documentaries I don't typically review, right? Some I feel like, I don't know how much of an audience there is for that, or if it resonates with anyone else outside of myself. But this one I felt inclined to, because for those who know my background, I spent 23, 24 years as a professional wrestler. I have not been in the ring. I've not stepped through the ropes in over a year post-car accident I had in July of last year. It's been a year, damn near to the date of my accident. So I haven't stepped in the ring in over a year. And I still, to this day, as I always say, I have lifelong friends that are in the WWE, that are in AEW, that are in TNA, that are in various companies, NWA, etc., etc. And I still keep in touch with them. We keep in touch. We uplift each other. We big up each other's successes, etc., etc. But one thing about the business, from any endeavor I've done, is I've always been protective of the business. I understand the business evolves, and at one point back in, 98, there was a Secrets of the Pro Wrestling Business exposed, and it wasn't much. It was the ring doesn't have springs under it. Sometimes there's a microphone there, but it's not really. Or guy's blade and things like that. But some people still believe the hard way. So the expose of the business wasn't as much as there still was to be kept secret. And when I say that, we know that pro wrestling is choreographed. People always say, oh, it's fake. And it's not fake. It's choreographed. It's stunt work. It's real athleticism from the men and women who go out there every night and sacrifice their bodies and to perform and entertain people. And there is something about the cinematic element behind it too, where it's a soap opera, right? There are people who always want to shit on pro wrestling. Oh, you grown man and watch pro wrestling, that's for kids. No, there's something about watching it. You get entertained by watching your favorite football players or favorite basketball players. Some people have their favorite wrestlers, and that changes just as much as your favorite sport. Other athletes change. But when it comes to the choreography, we know that many times the matches are predetermined, things like that are figured out, etc., etc. But this decided to go in depth to do the expression of show you how the sausage is made. Now, while I'm glad it did not specifically and fully show matches being put together in full, it did show many points of it. One part that really irked me, this is me, and I don't know for the viewers. I know there are a lot of viewers who when we were doing Blurs in the Hood yesterday, Winston and I, and there were people who they kind of enjoy being able to see some of the stuff, and I get it as a fan. It kind of is intriguing. But to see the men's elimination chamber match, right? To see the 6 participants together with their match producer, Michael Hayes, working out spots towards the finish and watching all the guys together. And I say that because even though I know many of the participants involved, I know personally and I know how people feel professionally about one another, etc., etc., I don't want to see them that way. You want the belief to project through the television that these guys don't like each other. They're trying to go all out. They'll destroy one another. And I know that older fans of pro wrestling will be like, well, what's the big deal? That was the part of the appeal to pro wrestling, the veil, if you will. There is a part where you watch Cody Rhodes talk with Kevin Owens after their ladder match they had, and Kevin's checking on Cody, which we do. This is an absolute thing we do. We go out there, when you're friends with somebody, you beat the dog shit out of them, and then you turn around and you go in the back, you ask each other, you okay, etc., etc. But those are things meant for the back, for the locker room. And yes, there are cameras everywhere when it comes to WWE now. And we're in this messed up day and age where everything is considered content. And I just don't feel like it all needed to be exposed like that. Rhea, Bianca, and Io, I feel like documentaries like that, talking about it, should be done even with the Elimination Chamber match. When I go Bianca, Io, and Rhea, that's their WrestleMania match they just had this year in Vegas. The Elimination, I feel like these type of documentaries and things behind the scenes should be shown after their careers are done. Don't do this while they're still active performers. Because now, when you're building the storyline, when you're building these angles, if you will, I feel like it takes away from that. You know, we get to see some of the wrestlers who they are as people. You know, you're learning real names and things like that, and what it takes, and even the conversation of turning John Cena heel and getting The Rock involved and Travis Scott and everything that goes on in the gorilla position, and it's a lot. And I think to me it just rubbed me the wrong way having been in the business. And yes, the business evolves, like I stated earlier. The business absolutely fucking evolves. And if I didn't believe it evolves, because there are now, you have guys who, just like comedians, get clips of their matches where they post a spot where they're going crazy to post it to go viral in the hopes that it'll blow them up. And as a stand-up comic, I see that all the time with crowd work clips, etc., etc. But there's just a part of the business, I think, that should remain. We know, look, when I go bring up football and basketball, you know the athletes on opposing teams don't hate each other. You know they kick it afterwards. And there's a competitive element. But the difference is when it comes to sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, there is not a storyline built up to enhance. So, let me do this part. When it comes to Monday Night Raw, SmackDown for the WWE, and even AEW Dynamite, a couple of NWA programs, I always say this when you're watching TV. These are television shows centered around wrestling. These aren't wrestling shows on television, TNA as well. When I say that, meaning, you know, that's how you have the angles, that's why you have the writers, etc., etc. It's a television show centered around pro wrestling. So when you have these house shows and then these big pay-per-views, that's the culmination. Oh, well, the house shows aren't culmination, but the bigger shows are the culmination where you're getting full wrestling, right? You're telling a story in this TV show. The story is this: these are the heels, these are baby faces, these are heels. What's the point of being of being considered a babyface or a heel if everything is going to be told, well, here's what happens in all actuality? Like, I know we see a lot of superstars now who go on Logan Paul's podcast. Logan Paul is an active member of the WWE, damn good at what he does in the ring. But when you're going to set up some of these programs with Logan, we're watching them laugh and joke. And I want to believe that when they go into these high-profile matchups, they're going to put on a show for the fans who do not know, who to them, it's still real to them, damn it, that the business stands in itself. Again, I will never take away the fact that the business evolves. But I don't see TNA, I don't see AEW, I don't see NWA doing a full, here's everything that happens backstage. Look, yes, The Undertaker now, who is just Mark Calloway, will tell you all his road stories with all his retired buddies. He'll talk to a few of the guys who may be still active. You know, he's one of the coaches on LFG. But for years, he even talked about how he was protective of the business. And yes, I guess because he's not doing anything else, he has to evolve with it as things have changed. And I don't want to stay this old school dude where it's like this old school mindset where kayfabe, which is pretty much dead. And kayfabe is that term we use, the Carney term, to say, hey, this is how you separate from the fans. The fans don't get to see that we're really friends. If the fans see us together, I gotta act like I hate you in person. I don't give a shit if we're all checking into the same hotel. You be at least 2 people behind me so the fans don't think, damn, did they ride together? Those little things. Triple H's response is always going to be, well, are you enjoying the show? And yes, I'm enjoying the show. But I think a part of the show is that magic behind the curtain. And I feel like when that magic is gone, you're taking away from what it is. Yes, what happens in the ring is ultimately what's most important. And the men and women, they go out there and they bust their asses night in and night out. Sometimes it gets personal, outside of business. But it's just, I don't think we needed to see all of this. Now, were there some things set up to be seen specifically for the show, for the documentary? Absolutely. But there are certain things that, anything in Gorilla, like, look, you can see somebody coming back through the curtain, whatever. But I feel like even seeing people come back through the curtain after the matches, I don't want to see, hypothetically, which I don't think we saw, Seth Rollins comes through, then here comes CM Punk right there, and even the match is over. I want to see them in Gorilla if we're going to play this role that they hate each other. Like, there's not even trying to do, we barely want to do business. We're butting heads. Again, there's going to be a lot of pushback from fans in the comments who, again, are like, well, I like to see all this, and that's fine. But I'm coming at it from a totally different perspective. So while fans, and I don't, and let me say this, and let me make sure I'm clear on this. When I say how I feel on this, I do not care if you're a lifelong fan. Fan is one level, worker is another. There is a separation. There's supposed to be a separation. I know you have the workers and the guys and girls go do meet and greets all the time, and they can't stay the bad guy in public, but some do. I love what Grayson Waller does. Grayson Waller is, yo, if I'm a bad guy right now, when I see you, I'm not signing no autographs. None of this matters to me. Now, granted, Austin Theory before his injury would break and be, a sweetheart of a person. But Grayson Waller was like, yo, this is who I am. And I think those things help protect and keep the business somewhat secretive. I said this to somebody. I feel like the TKO acquisition was the best and worst thing for the WWE. This is now a commercial entity where it's not about pro wrestling anymore. It is just a brand. It is about the marketing. It is about the content and all that and so on and so forth. And I wanted to do this to get my thoughts out. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Keep it civil. Okay, please keep it civil. Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell. Let me know what you think. Follow me on social media, Mr. J. Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. The Mad Titan Podcast is coming back very soon. Make sure you check that out. Just log on to the Blurs in the Hood YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. We got some things coming up for y'all. All this and more. Holla at y'all later. Take care. We're out.